getting ready for Yetzias Mitzrayim, getting ready for Pesach. We talked about the importance of getting ready for things. That in this whole world, the definition of life is the definition of us in this world is a world of preparation. We're a person preparing for the next world. Yes? A person has to understand, the Mesilas Yesharim says that the first thing that the Yetzer Hara gets a person to forget is that there's a next world. Even a person says, I know there's a next world, but if a person understands that he has to go before a Kadosh Baruch Hu, he has to give a din v'cheshbon, he has to tell over, he has to explain, he has to see why he did things and explain why he did things. And now there are people, when they do things wrong, they're not so bothered because they're really good, they're very quick, they're really good at explaining things that make things that they did doesn't seem so bad. They have a nice personality, a nice smile, they have a way of saying things, and so they can get out of things. When a person goes to the next world, that's not going to help him. Because the Ave M is a world of truth, in which a person can't say any excuses, can't say any lies, he can't say any half-truths, he can't color things. It should be a certain way to make it seem a little bit in his favor. A person has to blatantly tell the truth. He can't say anything but the truth in the next world. And so when a person knows and he has to go to the next world and there's going to be a judgment on him, so that means he understands that this life has meaning. What doesn't have meaning? There used to be in the beginning of the century, people, there was a bunch of poets, they're very depressed characters that took opium and fell asleep in gutters, kind of like some of the people still do nowadays. And they all ended up killing themselves. And they became...
I took natural opium.
Excellent. I'm so happy for you. I hope you'll never do it again.
You know why? I didn't write any poetry. I just fell asleep in random places while I was drunk. I tried to fall asleep while I was drunk. It didn't work. I never passed
That a
out.
person should not take things into his body that's going to hurt himself. Yeah? A Jewish person, a Jewish body is kodesh, is holy. We make brachas, and we eat kosher food, and we do mitzvahs with our body, and we sit in the sukkah, and we put on tzitzis, and we make sure that we don't wear shatnez, and we go to a mikvah, and we do mitzvahs with our body, and the Jewish body becomes kodesh. Yes? A person has a neshama, he has a soul, and a person has, this is kodesh, which is holy, and a person has a body also. A Jewish person that's lived his whole entire life doing mitzvahs and learning Torah and doing the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu becomes an entity of tremendous kedusha, of tremendous holiness. So we don't want to do things that hurt our body. Our body is it's like a person lives, a neshama lives in your body. A neshama is like a person living in a house. A person has a leak in the roof and the door doesn't close and the back door, anyone could push it in, or the wind could push in the back door because you can't fix the lock on the back door, and the window over there is, the person can open the window because he can't figure out how to lock the window again. Everything's broken all over the house. So the people inside the house, they don't clean up. They don't clean up after themselves. They're not organized. It's dirty. So a person, doesn't feel so safe in his home. So the same thing, a person, his neshama is housed for a period of time in his body. A neshama is the next world. Neshama means the person's soul. Neshama means nishmas. It says Hashem breathed into Adam a nishmas chol, breathed him a nishmas, a breath of life, yes? The word for breath is nishmas. The word for a person's soul is neshama. It's the same word. Nishmas, neshama is the same word. A person's neshama is the breath of Hashem, is the breath of God. Hashem breathed into a person a part of himself. Hashem breathed into a person a part of Hashem. That's why I say that we're Selim Elokim. We're image of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. We're the image. What's the image of Hashem? That we have a nose. Hashem doesn't have a nose or two arms. It's not. We have a face and cheekbones. Hashem doesn't have these things. What does it mean that we're an image of a Kodesh Baruch Hu? Just like Hashem has Bechira, He has free will. So we also have free will. We can make choices, either to choose to do Hashem's will, yes? Either to choose to do Hashem's will, or to choose Chas v'Shalom to go against the Kodesh Baruch Hu. But at the end of the day, there's a price to pay. Yes? There's a review of everything you did. Now we live in a world in which everywhere around us are cameras. people cannot do anything. They cannot commit any crimes or do any good deed. And somewhere on a building, on a house, on the street, on a pole, or someone walking down the street has a phone that now is in the old days when I was young. So a phone was just a phone. It wasn't a clock, and it wasn't a camera. It wasn't a place to go to the movies. It wasn't a thing to communicate. All the different things that they have the phone. You can just download your neshama, download your soul right into the phone. They have an app for your soul. Just like download it right in there, and you're just trapped and gone for life. In those days, they just had a phone. What?
Sometimes when you're davening for someone for a portion name, so you think of the person, you have an image. So it's harder when you daven. How do you picture who you're talking to?
Oh, you talk to Hashem?
Yeah, if he doesn't have a face or a mouth, what are you supposed to do?
The thing is, why do you?
White light. I don't know. It's like
so can I answer your question? Can I answer your question? The Arizal says that a person should picture the 4-letter name of Hashem. The Yud Kei Vav Kei. A person should picture the 4-letter name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the certain nekudos, certain vowels underneath those letters. Hashem should always be before me. What does that mean? That a person should keep in his mind that always that Hashem is in front of him. If it's too much for his brain to be able to focus on 4 letters, he should focus on the Yud, which is the first letter of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Yud itself represents Hashem. If a person does that, if a person focuses on the Yud, he'll feel. If a person you don't have to focus on anything. You don't have to focus on any object or anything or any thought in your mind. Really, if a person will just focus that there's a Hashem, I know I'm trying to be, but a person will feel automatically. He'll suddenly take a deep breath of air and he'll feel so much relaxed, because that's what his neshama really wants. The thing.
You know Garden of Amunah?
Yeah, I do. But let me just finish this idea. Hold on to that Garden of Amunah for a second. When a person's neshama is constantly striving to want to come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, grow up someday. But Hashem should bless you to grow up. Anyway.
I love you, Rabbi.
Okay, I love me too. Now, if a person has a neshama, why is it that you see a flame and there'll be moths constantly darting in and out of the flame? They come so close to the flame they actually get burnt by the flame, or a light. Yeah, moths are doing. This is what the neshama is constantly wanting to come closer to Hashem. The body came from the earth. Yes? So the body wants to go back into the earth. The neshama came from the Shemayim. The neshama came from the heavens. The neshama wants to go back up to Hashem. So that's the struggle. Right. So that's the struggle between a person. The body wants to go out and let's be gross and let's be disgusting and let's
Anyone that has no meaning in their life is going to be depressed. They're not even going to be happy.
Right. Of course. That's right. So what is a person doing when he gets depressed? Either he's going to feed his face,
Drugs.
or take drugs, or feed his face, or go to movies, or go something. He'll have a little phone here that they're constantly distracts him, or girls or something. Always distractions that take us away. That's the whole thing we began saying. The Messiah Yeshurim says that the first thing that the Yetzer Hara gets a person to forget is he's going to forget that there's a next world. And how do we forget there's a next world? There's distractions. There's so many things. There's a phone here. Now it's a phone. And when I was growing up, okay, it's a right. But the person's neshama is not satisfied with things that are physical. Yes, a person eats a certain amount of. He's very hungry, and he has a certain food he has a craving for. After a while, he eats it 2 or 3 times. If he eats it by the 4th time, he's sick of it. Yes?
Yeah.
And then when a person eats something, he goes to the bathroom, and it's not like anything he put into his mouth that came out. Yes, why does Hashem do that? To let you know that the real value of what you're investing in life. People go to restaurants and fine restaurants and go to this restaurant and the Galloping Gourmet and all the different, this fine restaurant, that fine restaurant. But in the end, it's like something that doesn't last. It doesn't add up to anything. The neshama is not satisfied. The neshama is completely ruchnius. It's completely spiritual. Don't lose me because you're asking good questions. The neshama is completely spiritual, and this world is completely physical. The neshama is not satisfied by anything in this world. So a person has a neshama that's bursting, that wants to reach out to Hashem, and right. That's what I'm saying. So how does a person feed his neshama? By learning Torah. Then his neshama gets fed. If he does mitzvahs that Hashem commanded him to do, then his neshama is getting fed. If he's doing things that try to speak to Hashem, to pray to Hashem, to talk to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then his neshama is getting fed. What's the body? The fact that the body needs food is just a mashal. What's the real thing? Just like the body needs food, it's telling you that the neshama needs something also. The neshama has its own food. And the neshama's food is things of Torah, things of mitzvahs, things of being a good person, things of doing things that I know this is what Hashem wants me to do, of breaking my will. I want to be lazy, I want to get angry, I want to be selfish. And then I said, that's not what Hashem wants me to do. And a person works against that. Yes, and he realized that he wants to be generous. Someone asks for a ride, someone asks for help, and automatically we say no automatically. But then a person says, no, what does Hashem want me to do? And a person gives in on himself. A person always has a tendency always to explode in anger. Always gets angry. And that's not what Hashem wants. Hashem doesn't want him to get angry. So he works on himself. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Until he beats himself up enough that he becomes a person. He understands everything's from Hashem. Yeah, everything's from Hashem. Everything's for his own good. Yeah, you'll come. Everything's for his... Okay, go. Come. So sit on this seat over here. Change from this seat to this seat. Go just straight out like this. Okay. Come sit there.
I'll stand, Rabbi. I was standing.
Okay.
Shh,
go sit down. Sit down. So the point is like this. I don't even know what we're talking about. The person... shh. So I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you in 1 second. I would say the thing is like this: if you have a big fireplace, yes, with a big fire raging, and you take a candle that's lit and you put it in front of the fire, so the candle, the light of the candle, will begin bobbing towards the bigger light. So the same thing is by a person when a person's neshama, there's a big light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and a person's part of Hashem that's inside of him. That's part of Hashem. Just like the little light will bob towards the bigger light. So us also, give me 1 second, that we also are trying to come close to Hashem. Then when a Jew davens, when he prays to Hashem, come, you can join us if you want. If a person prays to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he might come bobbing back and forth because that's his neshama trying to get to Hashem. Yes?
The reason why we're on this world, the only reason is because if we're in the next world, and we didn't do anything to deserve it.
Right.
We're embarrassed.
Right.
So we got to come here to
earn something.
Yeah.
So he's saying the biggest gift. Why did Hashem put us in this world? Hashem put us in this world because He loves us. And the ultimate gift that you can give someone is the gift of accomplishment. So Hashem puts us in this world, in a world of tests, constantly being tested every single second. So Hashem puts us into this world so that we can pass tests. And we can say a person has
Rabbi, I need to get married.
Yeah? Well, can I just finish this one idea and we'll talk about you getting married? You have a long way to go before you can get married. But we'll talk. Okay,
when I was 14, I also wanted to get married.
Okay, and then...
No,
okay.
I already did the pleasures.
Can I speak to... I just want to see... Guys, let's just finish this one idea. Yes, this one idea. that a person's neshama is constantly trying to get closer to Hashem. His body is pulling him into the ground. And a person feels an emptiness inside of himself because the things of the physical world don't satisfy him. Either he can try to drown it out with drugs, with alcohol, with all kinds of distractions, which is not going to work anyway. Or he can give his neshama what it really wants, which is to do the will of Hashem. To change yourself and to be a person who brings inside of himself the goodness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He welcomes Hashem. You going away? We're going to talk about your problem now. Okay. There was a period of time. In which I did.
I want to be an astronaut when I grow up.
You have to grow up first. First, you have to grow up, and then you can be these things. First, you have to.
I'm just checking the score in the game. I'll be back.
What? The game doesn't matter. The thing is, we'll lose the game if we go to the game. Whoever won. It's not going to change it. You know how great the reward will be.
Thank you.
Over there. Thank you so much. See that because of that, I'll tell you a story. It was one time I think the Yankees I don't know. I guess the Yankees were in the World Series or they were in the playoffs or something. Yes? It's food. I don't know. It's something over there. It's moving to the other place. People can eat out of the food. Based on what you said. And the Yankees were up, I think. I don't know what, people.
Right from the beginning, they have to put it straight to that paper.
Right, okay. So the Yankees, I think, were up like 4-0 or 3-0. They were up 3-0, right?
It's the Red Sox.
Yeah, it was the Red Sox. They were 3-0. There was a Rabbi who came. I was teaching in a certain school at a certain time. And Rabbi from Israel come to America to try to convince boys in America to learn in their yeshivas in Israel. Okay, they do that. So he came in. He told this story. He said, first you have to hear the story first. He said, he came and told us the story. The Yankees were up 3-0. Yes? And what happened was, I think so, I guess so. They were up 3-0. And what happened was, in America, so the hours turned out when the game played, these guys stayed up extremely late to watch the baseball game. In Israel. They were in Israel. They stayed up till like 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning to watch the game. The Yankees won, right? And the next day, nobody showed up for prayers. Nobody showed up for davening. Nobody was there. So the Rebbe said, he said to them, I guarantee you, because the Yankees caused you to miss davening prayer in the morning, the Yankees will not win another game. And they ended up losing 4 games in a row. They lost. 4 games in a row. Right? Why is that? Why did that happen? What's the lesson is? Hashem is in control of the world. And when a tzaddik is geyser, when a tzaddik makes a decree, when a righteous person makes a decree, come here, rock it, baby. Okay, listen over here. You said, what's the meaning of this? The meaning of it is that when a tzaddik makes a gezer, when a tzaddik makes a decree, Hashem fulfills that decree. It's so hard. Yeah?
I don't need food yet.
I know you don't need food. You need Torah. That's it. You have to feed the body. You have to feed the neshama. So when you say, you have to go see who won the game, and so whoever won the game, won the game. But the point is that if you can hold back, and you not go there and say, learning Torah is more important, so that Hashem will give it to you. If a person goes and says, I can't learn Torah right now. I have to go watch with the game. Who's going to win the game? Hashem was more likely. Hashem's going to cause it the game that your team shouldn't win the game. Yeah, you with me?
I don't know. I'm not going for any team.
Yeah, okay. I want you to come a little bit closer. Yeah, that's it. Good. Now I feel better. So we're saying here that a person.
You gotta get yourself a Rabbi.
Right. So the thing is, why is that? Because in life, you need a guide. You need a guide in life. You need someone. It says you make for yourself a Rabbi, make for yourself a master, who's a person who's going to be able to guide you. Everybody in America, people say, I'm my own man, I'm my own person. Frank Sinatra sings, I did it my way. Yeah, everyone did it their way, right into jail. So everyone wants to be their own person, but we have to understand that
your own person. Get guidance.
But a person needs to know that in lifetime you need a person to guide you how to be able to do Hashem's will in this world. How am I able to do Hashem's will in this world? Yes. So we need someone who's older and wiser and knows the ways of Hashem better than we are.
Older people. It gives me a clearer understanding. I'm a little 17-year-old fisher. What do I know?
At least you know you don't know.
I grew from hanging out with older people. Right. Older people that are way wiser than me. I've been through more years in life than me.
So the thing is, you have to go to those people older than you, or people who fear Hashem and they're wise in the ways of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it says if you see that there's a Rav that will bite you, should take him as there's a Rav that's like a snake. So you take him and you wrap him around your waist. You wrap him around your waist like a belt. So why do you do that? Because the snake is so much closer. He bites you so much more easier. Why do you want to be bitten? Because it's better to be bitten in this world, to find out what you're doing wrong, that you can correct yourself in this world, than to lead your whole entire life in a delusion that you think you're a righteous person, you think you're a big tzaddik, and you get to the next world and you realize you were a Russia, you were a wicked fellow. What?
That's hard for me to learn for long, actually.
Okay. So what can I do? What should I do?
Can I just take a minute break?
You go do whatever you want. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want. Okay. Yeah.
I once heard this concept, like when he's saying Shemon Esrei. Imagine like all the villagers who are going once a month. They get to go to see the king, say his blessings and ask him for stuff. So, like, in a concept like that, like, you can picture and imagine that shack. But, like, how are you supposed to do it? Like I said, also, like, if someone is sick, like, you think of a person. Like, you see them by their face. Like, what are you supposed to do? Like, just picture a white light?
So the thing is that if
like, you want to imagine that you're talking to somebody, you know?
right.
It's not like you're just talking to an ear.
Can I tell you what I do personally?
Yeah.
I picture Hashem's name. I picture that there's Hashem, you know, the Yud. If I can't focus on all 4 letters of Hashem's name, I focus just on the first letter of Hashem's name. And I'm speaking to that name. Yeah, but then why do I do that? Because the Rizal says that's what a person should do. A person could picture things. A person wants to picture, you know, that the Navi speaks about Hashem as a tzaddik with a long beard. So a person wants to do that. So if that's what helps him, you know, so then that's whatever he can do to get himself to pay attention during his prayers, during his davening, that's what a person should do. That what a person shouldn't do is that he just spends the whole time daydreaming. Yeah, so whatever it takes for a person to be able to focus, that's what a person should do. Whatever it takes. I myself, I picture myself, sometimes I'll picture myself that I'm on a stage and there's an audience in front of me and I'm acting out Shmon Esrei.
Like what?
I'm acting out, whatever you were acting out the words. I used to be an actor. I used to be an actor on stage, right? I used to be an actor. So I know what actors do. So what if I was given a script and my script was the tefillas, was the prayers that we have, was Shmona Esrei, and I was in front of an audience of 500 people, and I had to go and say these words in front of an audience.
Which part, like, what would you do?
What? Say it again? Let's say, Elokei Avraham. What if I was in front of an audience? Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, Keil HaGibor HaNorah. How would I say that if I was in front of an audience and they knew how to speak Hebrew? How would I say it? I would say it with such feeling, you know? Because I had to get paid at the end of the day. I had to get applauded. So sometimes I do that. Sometimes I picture that I'm in front of an audience. And
when it comes to, like, the Kav Shofar, you picture yourself, like, blowing the shofar?
So the thing is like this, a person has to, like I said, some other time, I'm not answering your question directly. A person should realize that he is speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's speaking to Hashem. I don't think you really need to make a picture unless you have to. A person, if a person is constantly always speaking to Him, it's not that we speak to Hashem when we're officially sitting 3 times a day. We go and we daven before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. A person should be speaking to Hashem all the time. He's speaking to Hashem. Once a person's speaking to Hashem, he doesn't need a picture anymore. He feels the presence of Hashem. He feels that he's speaking to somebody. Yes? A person, I don't have to picture. I know when I'm speaking to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I know he hears.
Bank manager and he asking for a loan.
It's more than that. Even when you're speaking to a human being, you're not supposed to be picturing that you're speaking to a human being.
Sure
You have to be picture that you're speaking to Hashem. Even though it's the most difficult thing on the planet, because Avigdor used to say this, that a person is so real, his face is so real. Yeah, but you have to come and sit down. You have to come in quietly because we're right. Okay, and the bathroom needs you. Anyway, so, yeah, okay, just quietly. What were we saying? I don't say it anymore. The bank manager. So, even when he's speaking to Rav Miller said that a person should, when he's talking to a person, he should keep in mind he's speaking to the Selam Elokim. He's speaking to the image of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If a person would do that, a person's face is the Selam Elokim, yes? A person is the image of Hashem. If a person would keep in mind when I'm speaking to somebody, that I'm speaking to an image of Hashem, an image of God, all of a sudden it becomes a whole different conversation. It becomes a whole different thing. Person should try it one time. You would see. I'm going to choose one person. I'm going to the bank manager. I'm going to keep in mind that I'm speaking to Hashem. And this is the image of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Come sit down normally, like a normal human being. Yeah, but you know what I mean? You always have to go. Okay. Don't threaten me, please. What? Come sit down. Why can you learn? So allow your brother to sit down.
I sat here like 10, 15 minutes.
So therefore what?
I'm going to rush for my brother. I'll come tomorrow, okay?
Okay. Hatzlacha. Anyway, so even when a person's speaking when you're speaking to a person, you should be keeping in mind that you're speaking to Hashem. So also, when a person's in davening, speaking to Hashem, it's keep in mind he's speaking to Hashem. I don't see why a person has to actually have a picture. A person gets a feeling that he's speaking to Hashem. If a person, even when he's not praying, he's walking down the street, there's nobody around him, and he has troubles, problems, he has questions, and he speaks to Hashem, no one's around him. I walk around the block in my home, and I'm speaking to Hashem. And my kids, they can drive cars now, so they drive by and they go, "Who are you always talking to?" I say, "I'm talking to Hashem." And they say, like I look like a person. Like now, it's easy. So in the old days, if someone talked to themselves, so you knew they were crazy. Yes? We used to have vacations. We lived in Florida. We used to have vacations, go to New York. And the funnest thing to go to New York is find crazy people who are speaking to themselves. So now it's easier. Now they have these things that people put in their ears, a blue tube or Bluetooth, I don't know, a red tooth, I don't know. They put these things in their ears, and they walk down the street and they talk, and no one thinks they're crazy, even though they should think they're crazy, because they're talking to this, they have the thing in their ear. Yes? So now if a person walks down the street and he's talking to Hashem, no one will think anything. They'll just think, that he has a Bluetooth in his ear, whatever it's called. And he's just talking to somebody. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll walk down the street and I'll pretend I have a Bluetooth in my ear, and I'll go like this, and I'll talk, and everyone doesn't think I'm... they think I'm talking to somebody.
Rabbi Miller mentioned that once. Something like if you ever into a city, you want to talk to Hashem, you don't want to see it recorded, you go to like a phone booth, just
right.
pick up the phone.
And you have to know, now they don't have phone booths anymore. Right? There's no phone booths. There used to be a phone booth, you close the door and the light goes on, and you have privacy. And you can pick up the phone and pretend you're talking. You can do the same thing now. You take your cell phone, don't turn on your cell phone, and just, walk down the street and you're talking to Hashem. And it's a more meaningful conversation, because when you talk to Hashem, something's going to happen. You're really talking to somebody. When you're talking to a person, even when you're talking to a person, trying to get a person to do something for you, so a person should keep in mind that he's really speaking to Hashem. And he keeps in mind, Ein od milvado. There's only Hashem in the whole entire world. There's only a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And when a person does that, even when he speaks to people, he's keeping in mind this only thing in the world is Hashem. And that way, that the Cheshbon and Nefesh, and not Cheshbon and Nefesh HaChaim, and the Rambam both says that a person always says Ein od milvado, he'll be rescued from everything, and nothing will have rulership over him. He's constantly keeping in mind the only thing in the world is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. So so that's the truth. I don't want anything to rule over me. I don't want anything to have rulership over me. I want to be able to escape anything. I don't want to get into any trouble. And it just means the person just says Ein od milvado all the time. So you have tunes. You sing Ein od milvado under your breath, or you think it, and you go through your day. So you're constantly focusing on Hashem, and it's a whole different life. It's a whole different experience. A whole different reality. It's I get to see in my life just things which are totally impossible for me working out for me. Just work out in a way like in the most easiest, simplest way on planet Earth. Yes? In the easiest way possible, things that are impossible, cannot possibly happen. I'm going to be saved from this thing. Ends up getting saved from it in such an easy way that I don't even realize I was saved. I was helped. Yes? Because Hashem is in control of the world. And when you say Ein od milvado, you're saying, I understand that the only thing in the world is Hashem. All these other things are make-believe and they're not real. And so then it's like I'm giving Hashem, and you can do whatever you want now. I give you permission. I'm accepting you totally into my life. Everything else is fantasy. You're the only thing that's real. So what do I have to worry about? It's Hashem's world. He's the one that moves the pieces. So he can do anything. I cannot tell you how many people write stories about a miracle happened to them. I read the story and I say, they happen to me 3 times a day. Stories like this happen. Things just happen to work out. How did it happen? How did it happen? It happens because is Hashem. The more a person focuses on the idea that the only thing in the world is a Kodesh Baruch Hu, the only thing is Hashem, and he spends all of his life not trying to appease people, not trying to butter up people, not trying to flatter wicked people. He's trying to find ways to reach out to Hashem, to communicate with Hashem, to appease Hashem, to make Hashem happy. So then he's in reality. That's reality. The only thing that's real is a Kodesh Baruch Hu. We say, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Hashem Echad, which means only Hashem. The only thing in the world is a Kodesh Baruch Hu. That's the only thing that's real. Once a person, we always say that, there was a book. I read when I was young. I don't want to talk about the book now. There was a book I read. The name of the book was called Illusions. And he said the whole entire world is illusions. But the person who wrote the book didn't understand what it means, illusions. Everything in the world is illusion. Everything in the world is not real. But what is real, the only thing that's real, is Hashem. When the person who wrote the book, he just said there's nothing that's real. And he didn't say what was real. He wrote a whole big book, and it became a bestseller, sold millions and millions of copies, and ruined a whole generation. Because he said the whole world is not real, but he didn't say what is real. So the Torah says, Hashem Echad. It's only Hashem. The whole entire world is not real. The whole entire world is make-believe. The only thing that is real is Hashem. Yes, and once you understand that, then there's a liberation, there's a freedom. You're finally focusing, like a person says, life has no meaning, what's the purpose I'm living? Why am I going through the planet? Yeah. Why?
Another question.
Yeah, you do? You just finish it. You're not going to forget it? Don't forget the question. Let me just finish it. What am I doing on the planet? What's my purpose in life, people? What is the purpose? What am I doing here? He goes up and goes to India, and he lives on top of a garbage dump, and he sits there and, I don't know, and eats air. Because he wants to find meaning in life. He doesn't have to do that. He can be a regular person who works a job, has a wife and children, drives a car, pays taxes, and he knows exactly what the meaning of life is. The meaning of life is that Hashem gave me everything on the planet. I have to give everything back to Hashem. Yeah, go ahead.
I've done a lot of research, like reading videos online, a lot of different research about near-death experiences. How come when a Christian or Muslim have one, they have a Christian, they see Jesus, or the Muslim, the Jewish have one, they see Hashem? Is it like Hashem virtually puts it in their mind?
So pay attention.
What they believe in?
But pay attention. The answer is, the direction also, way a person wants to go, that's the way Hashem's going to lead him. The Gemara, it says in Tanakh that the Jewish people are having a war against the nation of Moab. And in the nation of Moab, the king took his son and slaughtered his son to his false god. And the Jewish people, when they saw this, were so shocked that they fell back in a shock, and the nation of Moab won the battle. And so what did they think? They thought that their god of Moab, that he slaughtered his son to, is stronger than the god of the Jews, because they ended up winning the war. Hashem if a person, the words of truth are recognized. Yes? Everybody recognizes what the truth is. But the point is, when you recognize something's the truth, what do you do with it? Do you accept it and change yourself, or you just push it out of your brain and go weiter? I'm saying the same thing. The way a person is in this world, that's the way he's going to be in the next world. Yes, that's why when a Jew goes to the next world, he wants to say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. How fortunate are you, Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Akiva, when the Romans and the Christians put him up on the cross, and they were burning him, and they were taking iron combs and raking off his flesh, and his Talmidim were there, students were there. because they wanted to know, they wanted to learn from their Rebbe. How does a person give up his life, al kiddush Hashem? And they saw that the time came to say Kriya Shema. And the Rebbe put his hands over his eyes. He's about to say Shema. And the student said, Rebbe, even now, even when you're about to die, they're killing you. They're killing you. That you're going to say Kriya Shema. So Rabbi Akiva said to them, my whole entire life, I was worried about whether I'd say, how is I going to be able to love Hashem with all of my life? How is I going to be able to love Hashem with all of my life? So now that I'm going to love Hashem more than the fact that they're taking my life away, of course I'm going to say Kriya Shema now. So we want to say Shema, there's only one God in the world, because we want to go into the next world believing that there's one God in the world. Because the way a person goes to the next world, that's the way it's going to be for all eternity. If a person goes to the next world depressed and upset, or he's watching TV, he wants to go, he loves a certain soap opera. So he's about to die, please put on the soap, General Hospital. I want to go to the next. So what goes with him the next world? All the actors of General Hospital go with him to the next world and greet him. If a person believes in Yashka Pondrix, he believes in Limburger Jesus of Nazareth, that's what he believes in, so that's what's going to greet him. But it doesn't mean that when a person gets beyond that step, there's steps when a person goes to the next world.
Wasn't it Allah Muhammad?
Yeah, it is. But the first step is when a person goes to the next world, he's going to see those people that give him the most comfort, that will make it easy for him to go to the next world. When a person goes to the next world, he's going to see let's say his wife went to the next world before him. His wife will be there, the husband will be there, the grandfather, the mother, the father. If a person loses a child, chas v'sholom, the child will be there. And it'll be so much easier for the person to go to the next world.
That's what I'm saying, because they're not there long enough.
Once a person gets past that point,
experience is only usually 5
right.
or 10 minutes of clinical death.
So what happens is,
it can be years of story.
Right. What happens is that now we have to leave. I don't know what happens is that they're finding that they're able to bring people back to life longer and longer. So they're being dead for longer amounts of time. And so they're going longer and longer, like you said, into the process of what happens to the neshama. That's how we know. How do you know there's a next world? It's the easiest time in the world ever to believe that there's a next world. Because there's 30 million people who went to the next world and came back to life. Yes? So why these people see these different things is to help them, make it easy for them to get to the next world. But once they're there, there's a time of judgment. The time of judgment is, there's nothing wrong with a Christian who believes in Limburger cheeses of Nazareth. Right? There's nothing wrong with a guy that believes in Allah, or he believes in Yashka Pondrix. He's not doing anything wrong. Yes? So there's no reason that Hashem shouldn't show him that image.
But there's only supposed to be one God. How can they
But when the time comes for the judgment, he will see that there's one God.
They don't get punished for it?
I don't think so. I don't think it's wrong for a guy. He's not going to be rewarded for it. The shutfis for a guy to believe that there's one God. He believes in partnership. There's God and there's Yashka Pondrix. So that's not an avera for a guy. It's not a mitzvah. It's an avera for a Jew to believe that. Yes? For a guy, he has to believe, for a non-Jew, he has to believe in the 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach. He has to believe in the 7 mitzvahs from Noah. And one of those mitzvahs is there's one God in the world. And he's the God of the Jewish people. Yes? So he doesn't get Olam Haba, because for a guy to get Olam Haba, he has to keep the 7 mitzvahs.
Do you think it's possible that Hashem put in, do you think it's possible, a lot of people say, oh...
And I think also another thing, a lot of times a person, can see the light, because he's so convinced it's going to be Yashka Pondrix, he interprets it, that's what it is, that's what he saw. Or he could be, he's lying. He wants so much to believe that's what it's going to be there for him. So that's what Hashem allows him to see. But the point is, even in lifetime, if a person believes in Yashka Pondrix, he believes in Jesus, and he prays to Jesus, Hashem is going to cause his prayers to come true. Yes?
Why?
Because the way a person wants to go, that's the way Hashem leads him. That's the great principle of free will. I really take back everything. I take back everything that I said. There was this girl. She was a missionary. She came to speak to my high school class, whatever, and she talked about how that she was in Guatemala, whatever she lived, and there was an earthquake, the wall was going to collapse on her. She cried out to Jesus, and the wall bent back, and it was a miracle. Yes? She wasn't crushed by the wall. But Hashem does that. Hashem, if a person believes in certain things, Hashem will, if you want to believe in this, I'm going to let you believe this is true. How do you have ISIS that they believe that what God means you should cut people's heads off?
It's not like Hashem gave power to like. It's not like someone from God forbid ever say Hashem gave power to another God to give this set of people. It's like this is the mayor of this religion or something.
Hashem is in
really
control
Hashem
of the
just
world.
letting them believe it.
Right. You see people who do the most craziest, insane things on planet Earth, and they believe in their hearts that they're Hitler thought he was doing the will of Hashem. If you listen to his speeches, he says he's a messenger from God. Because a person, Hashem, the way a person wants to go, that's the way Hashem leads him, which means whatever you want to believe in life, Hashem will send you things to make you believe that what you're doing is the truth. Yes? So the same thing when a person goes to the next world. This is what they believe is the truth. Hashem's going to give them what they need. In addition, Hashem knows He's going to bring that person back to life. Yes? So it's not... See, that's the whole point. They're not really dying. If they were dying, they would see Hashem. This person's going to be brought back to life. So Hashem's not revealing Himself. This person believes in Limburger cheeses.
But he wants to still believe.
So he said, this is not that he wants to believe. This is what you want to believe in. This is what you want to believe in. And everything I said before, up until this point, was not the true answer. This is the true answer. The true answer is, give me 30 seconds. The true answer is that Hashem knows the person's not going to die. Just like in this world, if he prays to Jesus, Hashem will answer the prayers. He knows the person's coming back into life. If he wants to believe in Jesus as the true God, Hashem's going to help him to believe in it. Even when he goes to the next world, he'll see Jesus when he comes back. That's it. Yeah? Thank you. Thank you.